Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Heroes Power Hour, one of my favorite parts of the week. So good to see you guys here. I am your host, Twiz, and whether you found this on iTunes, whether you found this on YouTube, your buddies, tablet, however it is you found it, don't care, just glad you're here. We are going to rock this out this week. We are cranking that volume all the way to the right, okay? But I am not alone. I'm never alone on the show, and it's one of the greatest feelings in the entire world. I have the crew here with me, okay? First and foremost, you're going to see some different faces up here. We have some very special guests this week, and I'm going to be... I'll be introducing them in just a minute, but let's go through the people that you know, the faces that you know and love. First and foremost, down and to the right, you have, direct from the West Swartz Workshop, Mr. Nineball Gamer himself. Good evening, my friend. You're muted in a big way.
Ooh, how about now? How about now? Can you hear me now?
I was like, everybody, Nineball has turned into a mime. How wonderful!
The special lip reading episode.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sorry, got my finger on the mute button. The dogs are going a little bit crazy over here.
It's all good. It's all good, man. So, anyways, but very good to have you here. Directly below him is BlizzPro contributor and the mastermind behind some of these interviews that you guys see on BlizzPro.com. It's Mr. DJ Tyrant. Hello, sir.
So good to be back on the show.
Good.
Yeah, I took last week off, but it's really good to be back. I love this show. It's a great part of my week, and hopefully one of these weeks we'll get everyone back on at once.
Oh, one of these days. One of these weeks.
Inconceivable.
Inconceivable. I do not think it means what you think it means. So, anyways, directly across the screen from him, we have one of the newest contributors to BlizzPro.com, Mr. Alebeard, also known as Alebeard TV. Hello, sir.
Hello, good evening, guys. Glad to be on the show.
Good to have you. He has been a huge supporter of the Hearthstone Power Hour, the Heroes Power Hour. He's on BlizzPro staff now. Very excited, very glad to have you here, brother.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here.
And last but certainly not least, very, very good friend of Balrog fan, and one of the most, actually the most recent person I know that has hit rank 1 in Hero League. It is this Mr. Digitality Knight himself. We're going to call him Digi for short because I will trip over my tongue just like I did 3 seconds ago. So welcome to the show, man.
Thanks. Glad to be here. I've been watching for a bit and glad to be on.
Good. Absolutely glad to have you. And he is also a mastermind behind this game and very, very anxious to hear the knowledge he's got to drop. So... And that intro could not have ended more perfectly. Right there at the end, the music ran out, and that's that.
Right on schedule.
Don't you love it when timing works like that?
Yeah, how about it? So, anyways, guys, we have a monstrous show in store for you. Again, this is split up into 2 different sections, okay? The first, you're going to see on iTunes, and that's this section right now. We're going to cover the news. We're going to cover our thoughts, opinions, things that are happening within Heroes of the Storm, within the Nexus, that Blizzard is doing, and just kind of, bring you up to speed on everything that's going on. After that, we have a second portion of the show that's available on YouTube. That is our gameplay, where we have a team comp pre-built, and we are going to go in and play a couple of games and, have fun and tear some stuff apart. So, let's start off, guys. We've got some big news going on here that actually... Poor planning on my part. Here we go. There is an open beta celebration of sorts, believe it or not. Let's talk about this open beta celebration. It was posted on the Battle.net forums. DJ Tyrant, what is the big celebration? What's happening with this, buddy?
It's just we're celebrating that the open beta is here. Everyone can play. They brought out a new video actually to kind of show off Heroes of the Storm. And they teased a couple skins and mounts in there. One of them went by really quick, and it was a Tychus, Prisoner Tychus skin that looked really, really awesome. And I'm excited to hear more about that. And
I saw it for 2 seconds. He had like shorts on and no shirt, and the gun was like laying on the floor. I was like, oh, naked Tychus.
Yeah, but I mean, mostly this is just opening the beta to everyone and a stress test for the system, and they noted that if there's too many people trying to play at once, we might see queues getting in, but hopefully we won't see that. But they did warn about that.
I hope we see it. I hope we see queues, because that means people are playing this game, which
That's
I know
true.
there's a
That's
lot
a
of
good
people.
point.
I know there's a lot of people that play this game. Okay, I'm not discrediting that, but I just feel like Heroes has just not gotten the traction that like Hearthstone did, and some of the other things that it's one of the best games that I've ever played, and I just can't believe I'm not seeing people clawing each other's eyes out and throwing babies in the streets trying to get into this game.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
think we'll see it.
What's that?
Go
Sorry, I
ahead.
was just going to say, I think we'll see it more now. Even though it was easy to get beta keys, you still had to track someone down that had one. Even though many, many people had extra ones, it still took some effort to find one from somebody. But now that you can just click on a link and jump in, I think that will make a difference.
Yes. Yeah, a lot more accessible. Some people don't even want to screw with beta keys and stuff. It's like, you know what? I don't want to try and go after this and get let down over and over again and get angry. And plus the game's in beta, and they're going to keep changing stuff and whatever. People still think that there's going to be a wipe. I was talking to somebody that just got into the game, and they were like, yeah, I'm not going to put too much time in it because they're just going to wipe it when they launch it. And I'm like, no, they're not. And it's like, it kind of smacked me upside the head. Like, wow, people think there's still going to be a wipe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only other thing is this is just leading up, obviously, to the release of the game, which is like less than 2 weeks away, which blows my mind that it's such a quick process at this point, because it took us forever to get to even close beta, I feel like, at that point. And the timing is weird. We've talked about this a couple weeks ago on the show. I know Alebeard talked about in one of his articles about Heroes of the Dorm. It seems like that would have been the perfect time to have open beta, because you have all these people watching the show, and they're like, hey, this game looks cool. How can I play it?
Yep.
Blizzard's like, oh, you can't play it yet. Remember in a couple weeks and you'll be able to play, or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought about that, man. That would have been good timing. But hey, you know what? Blizzard does everything on their schedule. We are very familiar with that,
Yeah, and coordinating that between every single department across Blizzard is a nightmare, I can imagine. So, I mean, they did what they could, and it's relatively close to Heroes of the Dorm finishing up. So, well, I think it'll be okay.
Also, can you imagine live on ESPN2, everybody and their brother's like, "Oh, I want to try this," so they jump in there right away, and massive downloads, and servers crash, and cats and dogs living together in sin. That would be like
Yeah, and then their first experience would have been a negative one, so maybe it's better this way.
Yeah. I mean, anything can happen. So, Digi, what do you think, brother?
I agree with what Tyron said earlier with the stress testing. I mean, a lot of the games I've played lately now, open beta is pretty much relegated to just that phase of everything anymore.
Yeah.
Where you get in. I will say I did experience a little bit of latency issues earlier playing, but not too bad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, time will tell, and I think it's gonna, it's moving onward and upward. I just hope it gets the following and the traction. I think you got a lot of League of Legends players that are like, turning their nose up to the idea of this, and so I don't know.
I think it's similar to Hearthstone in that regard, though, hopefully, where there were so many Magic people that just initially dismissed Hearthstone as a noob game and a beginner card game, and then it turned out to actually have a lot of depth to it and got a lot of hardcore players and professional players. So hopefully Heroes will make a similar transition.
Yeah, good point.
And one point I wanted to make really quick, as I haven't seen it yet on TV, but apparently there's a commercial for Heroes of the Storm running on TV.
I haven't seen that either.
Yeah. So they definitely are pushing this a lot more than even Hearthstone, I feel like.
I didn't know that either until last night. It was last night. I was talking to Reb. For anybody who watched me in the Twizcast days or whatever, you're familiar with Reb, and she was telling me, she was like, it was just cool to see it on TV and everything, and even the Mayweather fight that was a couple of weeks ago, their team shirt, had Heroes of the Storm on it. I mean, Blizzard's not, they're not trying to advertise this. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
They're definitely trying to get it out there. That's for certain. They want it to succeed. They've got kind of like a grassroots movement going on, but now they kind of have to give it that little bit of push in order for it to kind of get that notoriety that Hearthstone did at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having
what's that?
come from League of Legends myself on the players that are kind of turning away from this game. I would say from the way I see people play in that game and not wanting to deal with the build-up phase of the game and wanting to get right into the action, and it's detrimental over there, but I think they would actually enjoy the pacing of this game more.
Oh, really? See, I never played League. And so it's like all I can do is see what's on the forums and everything like that. And it's kind of funny because like a week or two ago, I saw somebody who was like, he's like, I'm a League of Legends player, and you know, all you filthy casuals that play Heroes of the Storm. It's like a filthy casual. I guess that means that like I do things besides play video games all day. I, you know, earn income and have sex with my wife. I don't know.
They're trying to make it sound like it's a super easy game.
Yeah.
But I mean, this almost
only as easy as the competition.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I mean, this kind of brings us into our next topic, actually, of Blizzard announced the Heroes of the Storm World Championships at BlizzCon this year. $1.2 million on the line for teams here.
Yeah.
If you think Heroes of the Storm is easy, go get 4 of your friends together. Go win $200,000 at BlizzCon.
Yep.
Go do it.
Yep. And then stand on stage and call everybody a filthy casual.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do it. I dare you.
Do it. Do it. And I will be tuned in watching it, and I will say I'm a filthy casual. So, what's top prize out of the 1.2 million? What's the top dollar figure?
200,000 for the winning team at BlizzCon.
Okay, which after taxes comes to 32.88.
Exactly.
So, and that's 32.88.
Yeah.
So.
0.30.
But they're structuring it similar to how WCS is for StarCraft 2. There's a lot of regional tournaments. There's going to be 2 teams from America, 2 European teams, 2 Chinese teams, 1 Taiwanese team, and 1 Korean team. I'm most excited about the Korean teams because I have yet to see any Korean teams play Heroes of the Storm. And anytime they're involved in any esport at all, they come up with the craziest strategies.
Yeah.
And it'll be exciting to see.
Cool. See, I don't know, like I have an appreciation at the fact that they're making this an esport, or not that they're making that it is an esport. Pretty much, it's already been on ESPN, so the making part has already happened. But I just like it for the gameplay. I'm not much into esports in that, like, you know, I don't know. I couldn't spot a strategy like you probably could, Jimmy. You know, I couldn't spot, I mean, I might spot a cool move, you know, where Murden jumps over a wall or something like that. Or, you know, Stitches hooks somebody from across a bridge and drags them into their,
Yeah.
But, you know, I see that kind of stuff, but I see the gameplay, and that's all I see. And that's what interests me the most. So I just wonder how many other people out there are in my shoes where it's like, I just want to watch people play Heroes of the Storm. I'm not going to keep up with, you know, I'm not going to get the Team Liquid trading cards. You know what I mean? I'm just going to watch them play, you know?
Oh, but that's like the best part of BlizzCon.
Dude, I spent so much time at BlizzCon getting those stupid cards.
See?
Oh my god.
Yeah,
but I think the most exciting thing... yeah. The most exciting thing about it becoming a more serious esport is even right now, well, I guess more so before the patch, you got to see Europe using more Tychus-oriented teams versus all-American teams, Diablo and ETC. It was all Diablo and ETC until the patch, obviously. But I think BlizzCon is just a great tournament all around just because we get to see these different teams from all over the world play each other that we might not normally be able to see that. And so we get to... I think the drafts are going to be really exciting for this tournament because it's going to have totally different outcomes from each side.
Yeah, it's interesting how 2 different regions or multiple regions can play the exact same game and develop entirely different strategies on, you know, what heroes are the best or what comps are going to work well. So,
absolutely. Or how to capitalize on, you know, 2 or 3 heroes' abilities at once or something like that.
Right.
So...
And what I really love about Heroes of the Storm, and no other MOBA has this, is the map pool defines a lot of times the strategies and heroes you use.
Oh yeah. You want it because, like, on a map like, you know, Dragonshire, you have to have heroes that can support themselves because they might be alone taking a shrine, you know, as opposed to, you know, a map like Blackheart's Bay, which is going to be like a lot of team fighting. It's just starting from the beginning.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. There's one thing that I really like, and it's something that we've actually been talking on the West March Workshop a lot lately. Is like, we know how the game is now, and we're all looking forward to this tournament that's going to be happening over in November. But it's kind of like if you could kind of just snapshot like your thoughts and your feelings of the game and just how the game is playing and what you see in the scene like right now, and then go back and look at it in November and just think like, oh my god, I can't believe that I was using the strategy or using these heroes. And we won't even know what heroes are going to be out by then. Blizzard kind of said that they'd want to get a new hero out every 3 weeks. We've got the Crusader coming up for launch, and we've seen so many other heroes that are just kind of like in the waiting pool, waiting to be tapped. So, it's going to be some interesting times going forward as we get towards BlizzCon and see how the game and the meta has changed.
Absolutely. But that's pretty much what you just defined, Nineball, is the meta. Like I played Hearthstone, and it's like, we just did episode 57 last night of the Hearthstone Power Hour, and I was thinking about it earlier today. Like, I look at like episode 4, and or episode 5 or 6 or something like that, and I a Control Warrior episode where I was playing a Control Warrior deck, and it's like, oh my god, I can't believe I used those cards. I can't believe and they just got replaced by better cards. In this case, better heroes or tweaked abilities or something like that. So that's just the nature of the meta, man.
Yep, always changing, ever shifting.
Exactly.
So yeah, who knows? We could see 2 to 3 new maps by November, and 6 to 10 new heroes by then.
I think that's wildly optimistic. I think that's wildly optimistic, my good man.
I know.
Yeah,
two maps I think is reasonable. And what is it? Every 6 weeks now for heroes. So that would give us. I can't do the math real fast. I mean, still gives us 6 or 8 heroes.
I think they said every 3 weeks for heroes and like every 6 weeks for some other type of patch or content.
They can say that. I don't see them hitting every 3 weeks at all.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah, and I don't think that's been a trend. That's not something that's been said. I mean,
I thought that was kind of mentioned that was their feeling over at Heroes of the Dorm. Was something that they said that they were looking to do.
Okay, so that's what they were. Okay, but even still, at the end of the day, they're going to release it when they are damn good and ready.
Yeah. Personally, I think 3 weeks would be too soon anyway. Like a new hero every 3 weeks, that would be real tough to keep up with.
Yeah, it would.
From a player's perspective.
It would. What do you think,
Blizzard has to make that money somehow.
Yeah. Well, that's what the skins are for.
Start now.
We're all
Yeah,
suckers for
exactly.
skins.
Oh my
Get
gosh.
into a decent-sized pool of maybe about 50 heroes.
Mhm.
You want to see pretty good releases at least once a month, I'd say. But once you hit that point, you've got a lot of diversity on the board. You can kind of roll it back a little bit.
Sure.
Exactly. You have to get to a good starting point, like a Diablo support character.
There you go. Yeah. Let's start with the basics, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I still have that daily where it's like win 1 game with a Diablo support hero. Still haven't gotten it done yet. So.
And then I'm stuck here with the StarCraft Warrior.
Yeah. The Starcraft. Oh gosh. Well, in other news, in case you guys didn't see, and actually I didn't see this until it got brought up during the pre-show, but there are some new skins that got released for Sonya and Gazlo, and you guys feel free to go ahead and talk about them, and I will bring them up for all to see. So Sonya, she got the
best skin ever.
Wow.
It's pretty good.
This is my first time viewing this.
I'm not sure whether or not I like it.
How can you not? It's so just what you have to do is you actually have to go and try it and start using her abilities, because when you do the hook, it actually does like that comic book like shink. It actually pops with the word over the target that you hit. So it just has got like a really great comic book feel to it.
This looks to me like Thor and Iron Man's redheaded stepsister. That's what that says to me real quick. Mm-hmm. But no, I like it. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I think they could have done something better with the swords over here. They just look like arrows, like the aiming arrow, that you use in game. I don't know. But,
well, I think we can all tell from looking at these skins that Sonya is definitely colorblind.
There you have it. Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, but she got the gold eye going too, man. That's insane. So and Gazlo. Let's take a look at Gazlo's other skin. Come on, go away. There we go. Gazlo. Here we go.
I'm really interested in this one. I'm considering getting the pack. This is like a whole like Mars Attack style sci-fi thing.
I don't know. I think they're stretching on this one a little bit.
Yeah, I think I'm in your corner with that. It's cool, but not for me.
I mean, it's like I look at this, I look at his basic skin, okay, and then I look at something like this, and I'm like, holy snot. And then I look at something like this, and I'm like, I don't know. This is more like BioShock Gazlo.
Even if they're not for everyone, though, I love that they come up with these cool ideas for skins. At least this different take.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not knocking down the original. I'm sure there's somebody that is just like a Mars Attacks freak, and they're like, I love Gazlo. You know?
In that exact voice.
In that exact voice, absolutely.
Yep. I was actually playing around with someone that was using the Mad Martian Gazlo, and I don't know if it's a problem with the skin, or maybe it's just the map loaded funny, but I heard his audio from anywhere I was on the map.
That sounds like a bug.
Yeah, it bugged out on me.
Eek.
So I was playing Sonya, but apparently I was also playing Gazlo.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Speaking of other heroes, our most recent addition to the Nexus, Kael'thas. We didn't know much about him. Everybody's been kind of feeling him out and everything like that. Here is my thoughts on Kael'thas. Kael'thas is, and I'm sure you guys will have a million things to say about this, but this is my take on it. He's kind of like Tychus. Okay, now you're like, what? No, he's not anything like Tychus. No, not in playstyle, but in the fact that he's super strong with damage. He has his utilities. He is more than capable of putting up good numbers and being there when you need him to. But he doesn't have anything about him that's like, whoa, that's a game changer. You know, like before they nerfed Stitches, it was like he's got high damage, he's got the hook, he got the gorge, he's got all of that. You know, those are all game changing things. They nerfed his damage and his health and stuff like that. They brought him more down, and so nobody plays him anymore. But with Kael'thas, he doesn't have any game. Everything he has is super solid. Like Sylvanas, when we found out that you can attack a tower, and as soon as you start attacking a tower, it shuts it down and it doesn't fire, and you can push a lane like that. That's a game changer. That's something that's like, okay, we have to keep an eye out for Sylvanas doing this. And that's a game changer. But Kael'thas, good numbers, great utility, solid hero, nothing game changing about him. I give him an 8.5 in my book. But anyways, I'm sorry, I went off on a little bit of a tangent. There was a Kael'thas Reddit Q&A that if you went over to heroesofthestorm.blizspro.com, you can read a little article that was typed up by a gentleman you might know named Alebeard. And I'm going to let him expand a little bit more on this article and what happened on this Kael'thas Q&A on Reddit.
Sure. Yep. The Q&A took place on the day they released Kael'thas, so there was a lot of speculation because the Q&A was announced before they officially announced that Kael'thas was going to be released. It kind of made people wonder, are they really going to do a Q&A about a hero that just came out? So people thought it might mean that Kael'thas actually wasn't going to come out until the following week, which obviously now we know isn't really the case. So it was two of the hero design team, John Hodson and Eric Hagman. They go by Blizz Jonesy and Centauric, I believe is how you say it. So it was a lot about Kael'thas, but they also talked about a lot of other different aspects of the game and different heroes as well. So the two things that really kind of stuck out to me that I thought were interesting was they talked about just the overall way that they design heroes and kind of their mentality as far as what they think in the process of the hero design, both for Kael'thas and other heroes. And then I think it was kind of eye-opening, too, how long it actually takes them to, first of all, come up with these changes and then implement the changes. So a good example of that would be the Diablo and ETC changes, where most people were, talking about how they were just immediately nerfing these heroes that were so popular Heroes of the Dorm. But then in the Q&A, they talked about that they actually started these changes back like 5 months ago, and then finished them about 4 months ago, and then it just took this amount of time to eventually roll them out. So it really wasn't in reaction to the current meta. This ball was rolling a long, long time ago.
You know what, Ale, real quick, man, readjust your mic a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
It was getting a little bit away from you.
Okay, sorry. How's that?
That is wonderful, my friend.
Okay,
Good
beautiful.
game.
Okay, so as far as Killthas, they talked about when they were designing him that the very first thing they started working with was his Verdant Spear trait. And that was really what they geared the whole design process around. They went through a lot of different ideas as far as how to get that trait to work. They talked a lot about maybe automatic activation and different things like that. But then eventually they settled on this activating trait so that players would have a lot more decision making to make as far as when the right time to use it, things like that was.
Sure.
They also talked about Pyroblast and different ways to counter it. Like that was one of the immediate reactions I think that a lot of people had was how overpowered Pyroblast was. But they talked about different abilities and different heroes they can counter it, like Hardened Shield Talents, Divine Shield Talents, and maybe Tassidar's Dimensional Shift. They also talked about like how Pyroblast originally could be used on minions, but after they blew up a few too many minions, they decided that was not something they wanted to be able to do anymore.
Yeah.
So they changed that.
Let's
but then
try.
they also talked. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's try pulling your mic away just a little bit. Try
Okay,
that.
how's that?
There you go.
Yeah, I hear it
Better.
kind of clicking.
Yeah, for some reason, it's like I don't. It like it starts like amplifying your voice or something like that. So yeah, we'll just pull it away and see what happens there. So
Okay.
good info though. Keep going.
Okay, let's see. So yeah, they talked about the Diablo and ETC changes. One of the things when it came to Diablo, a lot of people are talking about the changes they made to Diablo, and their mentality was they really wanted to take away a lot of the unstoppable traits and the abilities, and they just recently got the technology to be able to do that. So there will probably be changes coming to other heroes as well along those same lines, where some of this unstoppable ability they really would like to remove from the game.
And they didn't give any type of a time frame or anything like that, did they?
No, they talked about how right now their primary focus is to get the game launched, and then after that they'll start making maybe some more changes to specific heroes.
That's interesting. Okay, all right. I mean, I understand this game. They're gonna be tweaking it the entire time, little bits here and there, and especially when you introduce a whole new hero, that affects everything from the top down. So, but I understand that. I wonder how long they let it play out before they finally make the needed changes. So
right. Yeah, I think the overall kind of thing that kept coming up during the Q&A was just their basic philosophy is, like a lot of Blizzard games, they want to focus on what is fun, and that's what a lot of the changes are geared around, is making the gameplay enjoyable for a lot of different skill levels, and they don't just want to be overly tuning the game and overly nerfing the game. They want to focus on making it fun.
Sure. Well, that's the only way they're going to keep everybody. I mean, that's video gaming 101. If you can't keep it fun and interesting, you're gonna lose everybody.
Yep.
Yeah. So, any other big news that came out of there?
Not really. I think, they talked a little about Sylvanas' possession. They want to try to tweak that, make it maybe feel a little more epic. They talked about the changes to Gazlo as far as making his targeting for his turrets more reliable, removing a dead zone for the melee. They did mention at the time, this was kind of newsworthy, but they've since fixed it in the hot patch, but there was a bug with Abathur's symbiote where it wasn't resetting the cooldowns when you would switch targets. That was kind of a big thing that slipped under the radar.
Oh, yeah, I can see how that would be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do remember either reading a tweet about it or something like that, but Sylvanas', I mean, they looked at everybody and nobody was taking Sylvanas' other alt.
Right.
And they're like, okay, well, obviously we need to make... I think if you could take a boss, then everybody'd be using it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
Like...
once everybody found out you can't take a boss, it's like, well, what am I going to do? Take one of these siege camp knights? Give me a break.
Right. Yeah, one of the four.
Yeah. So, where do you think Kael'thas is falling right now, Digi? What are your thoughts on him?
I think he's in a good spot. I think I disagree with you slightly on the game changer a bit.
Okay.
And I think his Phoenix Ultimate has a place in certain maps like Dragonshire and on Cursed Hollow, where you want to control a small area And
Okay.
with that, you can use it to position and zone people out really easily, or even stop a push by protecting your walls with it.
That is, you know what, and that is an excellent point. That's an excellent point. Yeah. I suppose everybody has their one cool thing. You know, Tychus turns into a robot. You know, he's got the Kael'thas has the Phoenix. Stitches has the hook. Everybody has their one cool thing, except for Murky. And and you know what? And that is it. I mean, you're right. I retract that statement. I'm pulling it back. That Phoenix, it is pretty much a game changer. But yeah, I still feel he's still solid. He's still getting an 8.5 in my book.
I think it'll change over time, but I think right now his ultimates psychologically make a big difference. Like when you put that Pyroblast on someone, people freak out and they start running it. It's not like they can get away from it, but that's many people's natural instinct is to turn and run anyway. And same thing with Phoenix. When you drop Phoenix, people scatter, and it often gets a team to break up where you can easily start getting picked. So again, once people get used to him, I think that'll settle. But right now, I think both of his ultimates can really change a fight up quickly.
Sure. Well, but you know what? I mean, it's natural instinct to run away from something like that, but I don't think it's a bad thing, because by you running away, you may have bought a second and a half for Rhaegar to get his ult off on you. Boy, it sounded filthy.
So moving away from your team to avoid the police splash.
There you go. There you go. So I think that I don't think that that problem, or not a problem, I don't think that natural instinct will ever go away. People will not be like, oh, he's got me with the Pyroblast, I'm gonna stand my ground. You know?
Just gonna eat it.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat it. Everybody, get away.
Taking it to the face.
Oh gosh. Well, lastly, guys. Well, not really. Lastly, yeah, I guess it is kind of. No, not lastly. There was a hot fix that took place, and Lily was a little bit broken. For I don't know how long this was in effect. I think finally somebody posted on the forums like, yeah, I'm doing like 750k healing on Lily. Is something wrong here, or what's going on? So what was wrong with Lily, and why was she broken? What was going on here? And just to let you guys know, they fixed it yesterday.
Yesterday.
So what was going on with her?
Digi.
It had something to do with her, what is that, the dragon spirit?
The Cloud Serpent, yeah.
Cloud Serpent. And there's a talent that gives it, whoever you put it on, I believe it's a level, I don't know which talent it is. I don't actually play Lily, but Balrog fan was using that. And when it attacks, it heals the person that it's on. And then at level 7, there's a talent that makes that attack bounce to 3 more people. And those were all healing too. So you were getting a lot of incoming healing to the person that was with the Cloud Serpent on. Mm-hmm. It was a really good sustain.
Wow. Well, yeah, and I just read the forum post, and they were like, oh my god, that's not right. You know, that's not working as intended. So thank you for the heads up, and we are going to be fixing that. But not that I heard anybody got punished for exploiting it. They didn't have much time to exploit it, but for people who did, I guess they probably made a little bit of headway. So I don't know. You're going to run into that. You're going to run into that all day long, every day. So, which it shows. I'm glad that they're like on top of it. You know, I mean, this was announced like on Saturday or something like that, and by Monday it was done. So I'm glad it wasn't like, you know, a month and a half later, finally we're gonna get around to fixing old Lily. Yeah. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought the response was pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, and really based on the wording of the way the talents are written, I don't think I would agree with them issuing bans for it anyway, because the language just isn't clear that the bounces shouldn't be doing that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
I never even read it, so I don't even know. I don't know. So, but cool. Well, so that's fixed, guys. So sorry if you guys didn't make it in time. It is what it is. But one of the last things that we want to do, that we do every week on the first segment, the first half of the show, is we feature a build. Okay, now head over to heroes.blizzpro.com And there's builds out the yin yang. Balrog Fan BP puts out a new build like every week, and like last week we broke down Thrall. And there's a Tychus, there's a whole bunch of builds, and he explains why he chose what he chose and how it works. And I mean, he doesn't just like pick one out of the air and he's like, yeah, this one looks good. Like, he experiments with them and he plays with these builds and stuff like that. And he explains the method to his madness. So if you are just picking up a new tune or a new hero and you don't know what build to go with or really how to play them, but you've been against them in the Nexus and you want to give this a try, head over to heroes.blizzpro.com and check out some of these guides that we have for some of these heroes. And this week we're going to be featuring this build. Nineball is going to break it down for us. It is in a Anub'Arak build, and I'm going to jump into the gameplay, and I'll follow you along with this Anub'Arak build of sorts. So what do we have going on here?
Oh, well, this one is a build that Balrog Fan really likes for when he plays Anub'Arak. It's a little bit different, and he does go through and say it in the guide. This is more of an advanced build. This is one you can't just go through and really do in quick match. You have to have a dedicated healer, and you have to be communicating with your team to know what's going on. It has a lot of really weird talent choices that you wouldn't really see when you're just going and playing like quick match or even just like solo queue in Hero League. Mm-hmm. So we'll get into the actual the abilities themselves first and what you're kind of going for. Obviously, everyone knows Anub'Arak's basic abilities is Impale, which sends out a row of spines and has a brief stun associated to it. This one is going to be really great as an initiation tool or something that you can use in the middle of a team fight in order to interrupt enemies. Second is Hardened Carapace, which will go through and gives you a brief shield. This is an ability that's going to combo really well with one of the talent choices that when the shield breaks, it goes and does damage to everything around you. You want to use this kind of like right before you initiate combat. It only lasts for a couple seconds, so it's something that in order to get the most out of it, you have to be taking damage. So you kind of use it preemptively, and then everything kind of unloads on you, and they waste it because it all gets absorbed by the shield. And finally, you have Burrow Charge, where he'll go through, burrow underneath the ground. He'll be able to go through other enemies' walls and such. He pops up and does kind of like an AoE stun that does some damage. It's another great initiator tool. If you kind of like use it to open, it will be off of cooldown. Should things turn out to go sour, you can always use it as an escape. Mm-hmm. Starting from the actual talents themselves, level 1 you're going to be taking Regeneration Master. This is a great talent that both Balrog and I pick for most tanks that have that option available at level 1. Just because it allows you to go and have some ramped up healing. So just after a team fight or just going and engaging someone, you'll find yourself at max health, even without a healer in just a little bit of time. Mm-hmm. This is one that you do have to constantly pay attention and be picking up those health globes throughout the entire fight in order to go and get the most of the stacks.
Yeah, this is an early game. This is an early game. I said it in the past. Is an early game something for a late game payoff, early game investment for a late game payoff. And that's the best. I tank with Chen all the time, and it's amazing. Late game, you've got because think about all the times you get health globes, not only from killing minions, but getting camps, completing objectives, getting the tributes, stuff like that, like. There's health globes puking out all over the place, and you will be surprised come level 17, 18, 19. It's like, I'm unkillable. I'm just unfreaking killable. And it's awesome.
Yeah. Easily at around like level 18, 20, you find yourself with, like 70, you're healing 70 hit points a second. Mm-hmm. It really doesn't take that long for you to get max health after engaging somebody pretty quickly while they've had to hearth back and actually in order to re-engage.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Level 4.
Yep, moving on. Level 4, we've got Locust Needles. This is the first of kind of like the unorthodox choices. This is something that's can really help at the lower levels when you're in your laning phase. And this is one of those ones where you kind of need a dedicated healer, because you're gonna be out there and you're just gonna be AoEing down packs. It makes it so that way every one of your auto attacks does 50% damage to everything around you. This can obliterate minion waves extremely quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So it pays off at the lower level, because you can go through and wipe out a pack with just a single impale and a couple swipes of locust needles. And then at later levels, when you're going through and having to clear like a massive wave of like 20 mobs that Anub'Arak normally has problems with, that he can just go through and swipe them out with just a couple swipes. It's will also pay off when you're in team fights, because not a lot of people will focus down Anub'Arak because they don't see him as being a lot of damage. This actually ramps up pretty quickly, and some of the most recent changes, like the change to healing wards and other things that you just passive AoE destroys, this comes in really handy.
Nice.
Well, going on level 7, I'm gonna butcher this one. Trick. I don't even know. I don't even know, man.
Urticating spines. I got it. It's urinating spines.
Urinating spines. Infuriating spines.
Urinating spines.
Yep, this is another one that will kind of like go through and give you some more AoE damage capabilities. It's whenever you cast it, we'll go kind of do a pulse of AoE damage around you. Since it has a relatively short cooldown, this is something that you'll be able to find yourself doing a couple times within a team fight. Again, it's great in the laning phase, because you're just constantly using it to absorb damage. It's going blasting all the minions, and in the middle of a team fight, it's just added damage that's hitting everyone that's being engaged at, along with the locust needles, impales being thrown out. You're just kind of there to put passive pressure on the entire team. And just talking about the AoE and passive pressure, you probably guessed it, but level 10, we're going to be taking Locust Swarm. In his build, Charlie does go and talk a lot about Web Blast and just why it doesn't work. Web Blast is still an incredibly powerful talent, but because you're going to be in the thick of things and you have so much AoE going on with just your own build, it's going to be breaking all the time. Mm-hmm. Locust Swarm is just another tool that you can go and use during your engagement in order to give you some survivability, as well as, again, you're just sitting there causing passive pressure on the entire team. You're making the healer kind of like have to pick and choose who's going to heal, and just making it so that way the whole team is going down in addition to whoever it is that you're picking on your target. Yep. Following this theme again at level 13, Burning Rage. You kind of. I'm sure you're probably by now getting the feeling for this. It is all just a bunch of talents that you're putting out constant AOE damage. Mm-hmm. Making it pretty much probably making your opposing teammates healer. Kind of pulling their hair out at this point.
Yep.
Like too many targets, can't heal at all.
Yep. I've got burning rage from my urinating spines.
You might want to see a doctor about that.
Exactly.
And then level 16, we've got Epicenter. This one is just probably one of the best level 16 talents that you can pick no matter what your build is. It increases the damage and radius when you come up from your burrow charge. It's great for an initiating. It will hit a bunch of targets with this and does a pretty decent amount of damage. Just all around solid talent. And then finally, level 20, because so many of our abilities even though they have short cooldowns, we're looking to try and use them as much as we possibly can. Rewind. Obviously, anyone that has that rewind available to them as a level 20 talent, that's a very popular choice. And again, it works out here because with a noob, you can put out Impale, Burrow, Rewind, Impale, Burrow, and you've locked down a group of people for 10 seconds.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. Oh. And even though it seems like it's a relatively easy strategy, just walk into the middle and kind of attack things. You do have to keep attention, to what's going on. You don't have a lot of the survivability talents in order to go and make to be a really good tank. You only have Locust Swarm, Regeneration Master, and Rewind, so that way you can double shield in a quick succession. But it's something that you kind of have to be communicating with your team and your healer, because if you burrow charge in without letting anybody know in order to initiate a team fight and no one else is ready, they're going to look at you and you're going to die before you can do anything else. Noob is a little bit of one of those squishier tanks, so it does require a little bit of skill and communication with the rest of your team, so that way they can capitalize upon the stuns and just the sickening amount of AoE damage that you can put out.
Fantabulous. Fantabulous, dude. Good game. So again, guys, head over to heroes.blizzpro.com. This is the kind of breakdowns that we give you guys. If you want to learn a tune, if you want to learn a hero, there's something to be said about trial and error, and there's something to be said about, getting a step up so you don't have to learn the hard way, and so that's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to help you do. So, cool. Well, let's see here, guys. Is there anything else for those of you who are in the chat room, or who are watching this on YouTube, or if you're watching this on iTunes, go check out the second half that we are about to kick off, because this team comp is what we're going into the Nexus with. So, let's see here. Let me go back to here. Guys, is there, let's see. I think we kicked the crap out of that. Is there anything you guys want to do before we kick off phase 2?
No, I think that about wraps it up.
Cool. Very cool. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks so much for tuning in. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, feel free to email us, podcast@blizzpro.com. That goes directly to me, okay? So anything you email goes directly to me. I get a notification on my phone, and I got it. So, and then also you can follow @Heroes Power Hour on Twitter, just to get reminded when we go live, or if you want to have any kind of discussion or anything like that. All of our Twitter handles are right here. TwizBP, 9ballgamer, DJ Tyrant, Alebeard TV, and BWMC Digitality. So feel free to hit any of us up if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything like that. So I think that is going to do it for part 1. Guys in the chat room, stick around, because we are about to get rowdy with this. Take care. We'll see you next week.